Hello, everybody, and welcome to Rollplay for Verona. Hi, friends. Look, it's all my friends. We're back together. It's so nice to see all of you. I hope everyone is doing well and is excited for space adventure. I have to ask, though, before we get started, Elspeth, I'm very concerned. How are your Pokemon doing? Are they okay?
Yes.
I saw a clip of you getting very excited about a Lotad, and
oh my god, he's so cute. He's so cute. I was dying at how freaking cute he wobbles. He's like a little child, and you're like, oh, it is sweet. He's a little end table. I love him.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Have you been? I tuned into your stream a little bit yesterday. I was watching you collect the Pokemon. Are you enjoying it so far? Are you having fun?
Yes.
Are you a big Pokemon fan, or is this like a new thing?
Yeah,
for you?
I'm a pretty big Pokemon fan. I actually didn't play the last. To be fair, I didn't play like the last 3 games that came out. But this one I heard was just getting rave reviews from all my friends, and they were like, "You really have to try it." It kind of goes back to like previous games, like 1, 2. It's very reminiscent of old battles. Like they did away with all like the special effects and everything. They're just like, we're getting back to the basics, and it's great. And they added a lot of really, really adorable Pokemon. I'm just really happy with everything. It's great.
And that's the big draw for you, is finding adorable Pokemon.
Oh yeah, 100%. My aim is adorable Pokemon, super strong, like just super tanky. And I mean that's I think a lot of the draw for a lot of people, where it's like, oh, it's so cute and it evolves into something super badass. So it's good. It's a good time. I'm really enjoying it. I streamed almost 8 hours yesterday. Just I like the time just flew by. It was insane.
My favorite Pokemon evolutions are always the awkward middle ones, where it's like they're cute on the first one, and the last evolution they're really cool and badass. But there's so many Pokemon whose middle evolution is just like an awkward teenager.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly
so many of them.
They're without saying too much. One of the starters that I have, I was actually really disappointed with its evolution, because I really like I don't know, I really like Pokemon that grow up to be like huge and they're just kind of derpy. And then the one that I was training was just like this super sad boy. I'm just like, I put so much happiness into you. Why are you so sad? And I was like yelling at it, and I'm just like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. This is why I'd make a terrible parent. If my child were ever depressed, I'd be like, hey, I'm happy. Weren't you happy?
Eat these berries. Go fight that other
kid.
Eat
these berries. You'll be fine.
Yep. I wonder if that's like, I mean, that's got to be intentional in the design, right? Where they're like, yep, the middle of everyone's life is awkward and terrible.
Right. So, right. Yeah, exactly.
All the middle evolution Pokemon have bad haircuts and shitty attitudes, and that's just how it goes.
It's very true. It's very likely that they did that on purpose. So.
Yeah. Now, I have to ask, Mark, is the Galar region an accurate representation of your homeland, or have they taken some artistic liberties?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted, Mark. We cannot hear your dulcet English tones.
There we go. I'm back.
There you go.
Hi. There we go. Thank you. Because I've not played a Pokemon game since the first one, and I've been playing Sword as well. And I gotta say, like, there's a lot of really good localization, like just not in the things they say, but like the region. Like there's been a couple of cities that I visited and gone, oh, this is Brighton. Like, yeah, like, and you can see the relevant like the things that they've taken inspiration from. I think my favorite thing is like really early on in the game, I went into one of the clothes stores, and one of the items you can buy is tracky bottoms. And I was like, oh my God, they've actually called them tracky bottoms. What is going on? And it just, there's like so much like genuine, like little bits of dialogue, the way that like the characters talk to each other, the way that like the grown-ups talk to you about stuff. Like it's actually really good. And it feels like there's been a lot of love put into it, which is really fun.
I noticed one of the things they keep saying is like jog on. They say jog on, mate. And I'm just like, oh, that's exactly like I've heard people say
that. It's cute, right? Like it's cool seeing that they weren't just like, I don't know, there's a double-decker bus Pokemon and a bangers and mash Pokemon, and you can make a fight. Here's Queen Elizabeth as a Pokemon.
Oh, like, great.
There's still like
Yeah,
I haven't encountered the cup of tea Pokemon, but I know it's out there somewhere. But I've not found it yet. But yeah, like it's just quite nice. Like just little touches like that. Like they did have like a little red post box out in the countryside village, and even little things like the train stations that you go to, like the little departure boards and stuff like that. I was like, that's just what they're like out in like English towns and villages and stuff like that. Like it was just so bang on. I was just like, yep, this is amazing.
Are any of the other games like the other games are like regional? Like they would have that same effect if you lived in different parts of Japan, right? Are any of the other games like set in an analog of another country?
Yeah, I think
Like,
the last one
I haven't
was
played all of them,
Hawaii.
so.
I think the last one was like Hawaii and
right.
stuff like that.
Yeah, the
That's right. And then they had a
Alolan
French
region.
one too. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I've not played them, so I don't know like how much of that
cool.
culture was in. But with this one, it feels like a lot of British culture's been put into it. Like even just things like the stadiums being like big soccer stadiums and stuff like that. There's a lot of really fun stuff.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah, it definitely feels like it's got kind of a football like vibe to it,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
neat. Yeah,
Like,
that
the
idea is
uniforms
really
and stuff.
cool. Maybe someday in another 25 years they'll get bored and they'll run out of like good countries and they'll be like, all right, fine, we'll make a Canadian Pokemon. Here you go. It's a Maple Leaf Pokemon. We got some.
Are you kidding me? That would be
Myers
so
Pokemon. Here you
adorable.
go.
You'd have like
It would be great, but
you'd have a plethora of ice Pokemon everywhere. Like they could make
Yeah,
a
there'd be
whole new
hockey
thing
and-
for ice Pokemon. I feel like they're the most underrated type. Like they're so powerful, and yet there's not that many of them. So going to Canada would be like, hell yeah, dude, put us up in like the fucking
if they
Yukon or
make a
some
Wayne
shit.
Gretzky Pokemon, I will lose
Yes,
my
dude.
shit. That's it. Like that, the
Oh,
Wayne the
Jesus.
Great one, it'd be perfect. Yeah, a Tim Hortons Pokemon, a Moose Pokemon. Well, I ask about this because I saw a thread on Twitter a little while ago where a designer had made like a fake Australian Pokemon set, and it was quite good, and so it made me think like, yep, that's cool. Well, so it's nice to hear that it isn't just like here's a layer of Englishness on top of like just normal Pokemon stuff, that they've actually put some time and energy into it. That's really
It definitely
cool.
feels like they have for sure. Just like just the map design and everything, the way that they've done like the regions and the locations and stuff. Definitely.
Nice. That's very cool. Vana, I have to say, I watched a clip of you playing Link's Awakening, and I'm sure you know which clip I'm talking about. It was painful.
I don't know what you're
I don't know
talking
that I've
about.
ever felt so much empathy for someone else's pain in my whole life. Like watching you try to solve that puzzle, I
It
came out
wasn't
the
a
other side a
puzzle.
different
It was
person.
that you can't call that a puzzle. You can't
What
call that a
happened?
puzzle.
What
I
happened?
was trying to be gentle with you. No, it was not a puzzle. It was literally just pushing 2 blocks around. But yeah. Are you okay?
there's
I guess is what I need to know.
You know, that's in the past. I've met so many corgi Pokemon since then, and my life is much better. But no, that's not a puzzle. That was like literally like just move blocks around until something happens. And I was trying to think of it with a Zelda brain, which is like it's always a puzzle. It's always a fucking puzzle, you know. And so I'm trying to like be like, okay, in this room, the colored tiles are arranged like this, so I've got to arrange these blocks like this, or like the crystals, I've got to put the crystals in the correct order. And then it was like, no, bitch, just make a square. Like I think like I condensed it down to what, like 2 minutes, but I think it was a full hour of me doing that.
Right.
At one point, I left.
Marcus is
Sorry.
just dying, like in chat.
Yeah, Marcus is
Like,
dying. So to
loving it.
quote Marcus from chat, it's not even a clip. It's a full-length TV show about this 4
It really is. It really is. I mean, I cut it down. I cut it down for Twitter, but it was an hour where it's like part of the hour is I give up and I go. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go away now, and I just leave for a while, and then I come back when I've realigned my senses, and I'm like, okay,
It reminded me.
Calm down.
It reminded me of being a child. When I was a kid, my great grandmother, my old Nana, came over to our house one day, and I was playing Super Mario, and she was like, "Oh, can I play?" And I was like, "All right, Nana, here you go." And she could not figure out how to get past the first Goomba. She was like, I keep hitting this mushroom and dying. And I was like, you just press the A button to jump, Nana. And she was like, what? That's what it reminded me of. Watching that, I was like, this is my grandma trying to play video games. It was very
You should give it a
entertaining.
shot.
listen, you have to agree with me that that wasn't a puzzle, and that's why it was so hard. It's because you wanted it to be a puzzle, and it wasn't a
Yes.
puzzle. It was just a square making game, and they did
beauty
not
of
properly
misdirection.
introduce it like that. If they had been like, "Hey, bitch, make a square," I wouldn't have taken an hour to figure that out.
I am trying
But I
so
was-
hard to find your wherever it is so I can watch it because
It's
I relate to this so hard.
okay. I just found it. I'm
now
gonna put it
Now I'm
in.
just gonna imagine. Now I'm just gonna imagine Navi in Vanna's version of Legend of Zelda. So you walk in a room and she's like, "Hey, listen, make a square, bitch."
Make a square, bitch. Make a square. I just put the link in both chats, both mine and the roleplay chat.
Very nice.
But
yes.
I'm kind of offended, Adam, because you bring up everybody's fun Pokemon experiences. My most recent edit that I've put up is like the first clip I've ever gotten 1,000+ likes on, and you're not talking about that, and it's not me being stupid. Why do you have to bring up this other one?
yeah, right, exactly. I ask everybody else about their accomplishments and what they've been up to. Anybody win like a lifetime achievement award in esports? Anybody in the no? Right?
Sorry, I'm watching
anybody
this
post,
clip.
Yeah, I
It's
know
too
it's
good.
great.
Anybody post an embarrassing clip of
great.
themselves being bad at video games? It's
The
fine.
subtitles really make
I'm
this
not
clip.
bad at video games. I'm too good at video games. That's the problem.
I
it's
can
any-
get behind that.
If it's any consolation, Vanna, my most popular clip is me getting ethered by a log in Bloodborne after thinking I'm hot shit. I dodged the log the first time, and I'm like, yeah, take that, game. And then the log just plows me into the ground. I understand. I understand your pain. We're both terrible. It's fine.
No, okay. No, you think this about me. I don't think this about myself. I'm committed to the idea that I'm too good at video games, and that's why this happened. It has
Alright,
nothing
that's
to do
fair.
with my inferiority. It has to do with my superiority.
I
I'm
am
sticking with that.
pro letting people have their delusions. I'm okay with that. I'm all right.
I've played a lot of heckin' Zelda games, and it's not supposed to be like that. Not supposed to
It
be
is
like
true
that.
though. Like there's that thing where you go in expecting something to be a lot more difficult or a lot more complex than it is, and you waste a ton of time thinking
I've
that's
had
how it
a
goes.
Triforce tattoo. Like I know better. That's not how it's supposed to be.
It's
That's
like in
not how
Hercules
it's
where he's
supposed to
like,
be.
"Look, I'm an action figure," and he's like, "Look, I got a tattoo."
Oh my god. I know how it's supposed to be, and that ain't it. That ain't it.
That clip is gold. That is
Yeah, it's
absolute
fucking great,
gold.
dude. I love
So
it.
good. The subtitles
Mhm.
absolutely make it as well.
But honestly, literally an hour. So I think that's 2 minutes, but it literally went on for an hour. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, it's evidence that you can take something that, because I think everybody's been in that position where you're trying to solve something and chat is like laughing and then they get kind of bored and they're like, you're being dumb, figure it out. And you're kind of anxious about that. And it's nice that you could take all of that and make it into something so funny, because that clip, it killed me. I've watched it 3 times.
I really
since, and it's
resent
just so
the
good.
implication that anyone at any point in time is bored in my channel. Listen,
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
fair.
how it is.
That's
It's
fair.
just not how it is.
Yeah, you're just gonna Rorschach everybody and be like, listen, you're stuck here. You can't leave. I have to finish this puzzle and you can't go. Yep. Yep. Nicely done. What Marcus, what have you been up to? How's the interior of America? Is it good? Still
Great.
wholesome?
Yeah, it's great. You know, went to the pumpkin patch, got some pumpkins. Now the pumpkins are gone.
Mhm.
Halloween happened.
You getting a
It was
Christmas tree?
cold as fuck. That's next on our list. That's
Yeah,
next on our list.
yeah.
Yeah.
And is this like a family outing to the Christmas tree field to like choose a tree and
Nah, fuck no, man.
strap it
Like
to the
we've
roof of your
got
car
2
and
new
drive it home?
kittens, so we already
Yeah.
know that we're gonna create a disaster zone. So we're sure as fuck not gonna
True.
do a disaster zone with a real tree. That
Yeah.
thing will be on fire within 72 hours. Somehow, I don't know. The cats will like figure out how to torch the thing. So we're going to. I would really like to do that because that is something that we could do. And but between allergies and asthma and bugs and kittens, you know what? A fucking plastic tree sounds really, really good these
Yeah.
days. So, I as much as I like it. So yeah, I mean, like I wake up in a cold sweat at night being like, oh my God, like the cat's just like they've not only tipped over the tree in my dream, but they've like somehow launched the thing down the stairs. It's on like the second level. So I am just expecting the worst.
Yeah.
So it might be like, all right, it's December 23rd. Let's put up the tree. No, but it's going to be like probably this week. And I will report back to let you know what a fucking disaster it is. But I can't wait.
It sounds
can't
like you're
wait.
That's
having.
good.
You shouldn't be having stress dreams about your Christmas tree. Maybe you should have like
Man,
not a Christmas tree this year, like something sturdy, like a Christmas
Elspeth,
shield, like an armor, like shield of armor or something. Like
I've been having some like really, like I feel like I went through this period of time where I was definitely probably dreaming, but I was incapable of waking up and remembering anything. And I have been
oh,
having some like crazy lucid dream. I've had the cat Christmas tree one. I had this one where like water was affecting San Francisco and buildings were like falling down or around, and like I almost got crushed a bunch of times. Had another one where I lost my bag on a bus, and I was like, I was fucking devastated. Like I remember like I felt like I was doing work in my dream because I'm like, all right, who can I call? Like, let's call, Muni
oh
and
my
like
God, that's the worst.
it's weird, but I have to feel like that actually means that my real life is a little less stressful. And so maybe my brain is just like,
Dream meat
yeah,
is suffering for you.
lucidly. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, man. Like but they've been
I don't know,
like
man.
the lucid dreams they've been reactivated. It's pretty wild.
Well, I'm sorry that
So
you're dreaming about like your Christmas tree lighting on fire and everyone you know dying instead of like cool stuff
no
like
one's
being able to
dying. That's the nice
fly
thing.
or
Like
yeah, that's good.
they're all like terrible and horrible. And I wake up, I'm like, oh Jesus Christ. That building definitely almost crushed me, man. Like, okay, like let's get on with the day. I don't think much about it, but anyway. So yeah. And
Yeah.
and as you mentioned, I won an award last week, which was pretty
You did.
badass.
I saw that.
It's
yeah.
Since you
Oh,
brought it
that's
up,
exciting.
Adam.
since you brought it up,
It's a big deal.
like I get it is a big deal, but for me it's like um it's a bigger deal for me and like my relationship with my parents, which has always been good. But like my parents, they took a big risk in basically in that I was like, Mom, Dad, fuck it, man. I'm doing this gaming thing. And they're like, ooh, honey, are you, are you sure? Yep, I love it too much. I'm fucking doing it. And to be like, hey, here you go, man. Like, thanks for the hard work ethic, and thanks for, all of the lessons that you gave me. I hated you for 17 years of my life, but like it was pretty good. Like whatever you did was pretty great. And that's the part that's super, super great about it.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a degree, and I think I feel like that too. And I think a lot of people that do the job that we do, we have this kind of like feeling of, yeah, take that, Mom and Dad, video games won't pay my bills. I'll show you. Dungeons and Dragons isn't gonna make me any money.
Yeah.
Vindication is a
Hey,
great
my
feeling.
parents literally owned a video game store when I was growing up. So
Oh my what?
this is part of the course. Yeah.
So it's the you're continuing the family business.
The video games have been paying the bills since before I can remember.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
So what kind of video store, like was it like a Blockbuster or was it like a game store or
It was a video game store, and then I think when
Amazing.
like my dad used to be a buyer for Blockbuster, so I think that kind of got integrated in later on where we started doing like rentals and stuff. Because like when things started getting digitized and there was less mom and pop video game shops and more like chain ones, it was harder to get people to like purchase a game. So it was like when
Yeah.
that shift happened, it was like most of our money I think was coming from like rentals and people not returning the rentals. Most of the money was coming from non-returned rentals.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it started out just as like a straight up video game, but we had the difference from like a chain being that we had like all the old school stuff too. So
I have a lot of very fond memories, as I imagine a lot of people do, of like renting video games from a store, and like that pre-Blockbuster, pre-chain era. Mine, what was the one in where I grew up? It was Crazy Mike's Video. And it had
Crazy Mike. Come down to Crazy Mike's video. We got
all the latest
We got
Half-Life.
video games.
he
We
had
got
a TV.
VHS tape. We got fucking Laserdisc. Come on down. It's Crazy Mike's Game Store.
That's a really good impression of Crazy Mike. He had a TV, he had a commercial on like
We
late
had
night
Crazy Mike.
TV.
That's what, Jan.
Yeah.
Oh my
Crazy Mike
God.
was like a real dude, and he had this like very bad low budget commercial where he just yelled at the camera. Like that was pretty good.
It's just
Yeah.
what I imagine exactly what Crazy Mike's would be. I
Yeah,
worked at a game
yeah.
store so that I could have free video game rental, like 100%. That was, I just like, well, this is not sustainable. I need to get a job here so I can just take these home. That was my strategy. So
Yeah, I worked at a board game and tabletop RPG like store for that exact reason in my late teens, because the boss didn't want to have to pay taxes, and so what he would do is he would say, okay, if you let me pay you less, right? Here's how much money I'm going to pay you, but for every $1 that I don't have to pay you, you can have $2 in store credit. And so as someone whose rent was very low and who didn't have a lot of things to spend money on, I was like, yeah, I don't know, like 3/4 of my paycheck, just double that, and I'll just take home all of this stuff. Thanks, bye. And that was it. I just got paid in role-playing games, which is where all this bullshit came from. Those were the days. But that's all right.
I feel like there's two topics that we didn't get to address. Number one is that we never got to have a show and talk about Mark's Halloween costume, which
I was trying to remember when last time we had a show. So yeah, Mark, would you like to talk about how that went over? Because it looked great.
It was a long time ago to me now, but yeah, no. Every Halloween for High Rollers, we always dress up. And last year I did my Bowsette, and that obviously went down very well. And I knew I had to step it up, but there was no meme to like really be. But I'd been replaying Final Fantasy VIII, and a friend of mine had been saying how much they loved Renoa from Final Fantasy VIII. And I was just like, I think I was looking for Halloween costumes, and I found a really good Renoa costume online. So I bought it, and then my fiancée Nina very kindly did a very excellent makeup job, and that's the story. It confused a lot of people, I think, and I had a great time, and that's the story.
Confused a lot of people. Are you one of those people, Mark?
I mean,
do
I
like
don't
the
know.
idea-
I'm not confused. I know what I
do
like.
love the idea of the fact that you're like, this is a video game character, and I love her, but I cannot have her, so I will become her.
Will be her. Yeah, absolutely.
It's great.
There we go. JP's actually got.
So good.
It's not my
turned out
favorite photo,
fantastic.
JP, but it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. No, I for me, like, there we go. That's my favorite one.
Very nice.
Yeah, and it was like, I don't want to say, like, after we finished High Rollers, the episode, like, all the guys left, and because I knew it was going to take me so long to like take all the makeup off and get changed, I just like had like a little mini photo shoot with myself where I had like a little mount for my phone, and I took a bunch of nice photos, and I just had a good time. And like, I've been doing this stuff for a long time. Like, I used to do a lot of like cosplay and crossplay when I was younger. And I used to do a lot of pantomime, and my dad used to do pantomime, and he would be like the classic dame and stuff. So to me, it's never been like a big deal. It's just like, this is a character I like. And yeah, I want to be that character. And it's just like, yeah, it's a load of fun. But thank you very much, Marcus. I am glad that you liked it.
I never wanted to be Squall more. I never wanted to be Squall more.
Whoa.
Adorable.
No, Vanna's gonna get started if you carry on. All right, she's gonna look at her. Look at her. The ship will go out of the game.
we need her. Don't ruin Vanna yet. We got several more hours that we need her to be.
I just love. Okay.
Oh, the other thing too is that like I really do think Mandalorian might be the best Star Wars thing I've ever watched.
Oh, I love it so much.
So fucking impressed. I cannot even believe it.
I agree 100%. I think that it is the best Star Wars thing we have gotten since the original Star Wars. Like, Mandalorian is better so far than Return of the Jedi. Like, it's fantastic. It's been so good so far. I really hope
That's
that
a
it
very bold
continues
statement,
on this
Adam.
track and doesn't like dip off at the end.
I don't
Me
know
too.
anything about it, but I saw a tweet that was like, I like how they made a frog, and they didn't try to like give it cute big eyes or anything like that. It was just like, it's a frog. Like it was just like, this exists in this universe and it's not like some weird alien. It's just frog, not a porg. So I like that.
I don't know if Baby Yoda would appreciate you talking about them like that.
Baby Yoda.
They
Completely different.
concentrated all of their
So cute.
cuteness in one character, so the rest of the show could be free of that bullshit.
Right.
Yeah,
And
Right.
Disney
It's a
can
cute
sell
trap.
a lot of toys this Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that-
I am having such a Star Wars fan moment at the moment. Like, I'm really enjoying Fallen Order. The Mandalorian's bloody great. Like, I'm just living my best Star Wars life. I'm just so happy.
It's almost time for the Star Wars Christmas special.
Oh,
They
yeah.
refer
Wookiee Life
to
Day.
that in the first episode of The Mandalorian. A character complains about not getting home in time for Life Day, which I thought was amazing. Like, there's all these
There's some
little kind of
amazing
like,
little
it's clear
references.
that they understand the universe.
Oh yeah. I mean, the other thing too that just needs to be said, because I think more people should read it and enjoy it, but like the whole like nod to Lone Wolf and Cub is just
Oh
like,
yeah,
Yeah.
it's fucking amazing. And I hope more people will be like, when that gets talked about more and more, we'll just go and read it all, because it's a lot easier to read now than it was even 5 years ago. And it's incredible. And you'll just be like, huh, oh my God, like this is awesome. It's literally Samurai Mandalorian or the reverse Star
it's
Wars.
It's very cool that it feels like they understand the genre they're going for.
Right.
And again, like, I mean, Star Wars originally was pretty much like a shot for shot, character for character remake of Hidden Fortress, which is an old Japanese movie. So it makes sense that they're drawing on, like, I think it must be an obvious, like a intentional parallel to, like Shogun Assassin or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Pretty
So
cool. Yeah, definitely worth the watch. I don't know anything about Star Wars. All right. Well, we have our own sci-fi epic, and it's not going to involve bounty hunters. Well, probably won't involve bounty hunters. I can't promise. I think that might be a lie. I think that may be not the case. There might be some bounty hunters. There's like a 30% chance of bounty hunters. But they're not the biggest problem right now. We have bigger problems on this spaceship. We have a recap though, which I'm sure many people are in sore need of. So let's run that recap, and then we'll see if anybody gets shot. Like Haley, for example. Previously on Far Verona, a new passenger arrives on the Protect Yanek, one Vigdis Karen's daughter, a former soldier, or pilot, maybe. She gives our group the cold shoulder in the cargo hold before heading into the bunks. Yasna and Captain Zabolski have a brief chat about who exactly qualifies as cargo while an altercation breaks out between Haley, Johnny, and the newcomer. Guns are drawn, and tensions high, but nobody ends up dead. Some musical bunks occur, and the whole situation just ends up showing us how little respect a toaster like Johnny gets in this sector. He climbs into a closet for some rest, and we drift into a flashback, learning a little about Johnny's original deployment. Hadil and Yasna get cozy behind some boxes in the hold, and are eavesdropped on by that giant robot bug thing. Haley and Vigdis continue to square off, but when Christine attempts to leave the room, muttering with a weapon hidden in her jacket, Haley intervenes. And everything goes to hell. So that's where we left off.
Goes to hell.
There's a lot of drama going on this spaceship, especially since the arrival of Vigdis. But Vigdis is not the core issue this moment. No. Vigdis is instead in the background. As Haley, you were blocking Christine from leaving because she was muttering to herself, just being all weird, and then she took something out of Yasna's bag and tried to leave, and you got in her way, right? So I think in the room right now, when we fade back in, right, it's Haley blocking the exit, Christine looking pale and kind of sweaty and confused with something hidden in her coat. And I don't know that anyone else. Vigdis is in the room, but she's asleep, quote unquote. She's laying on her bunk that she obtained and mostly ignoring you. So you're kind of on your own, Haley. What are you gonna do? How far do you want to go? Are you trying to take away whatever Christine has? Like, I believe you said something about lunging for the bulge last time we played. So your words,
Is that the
not
language
mine.
I used? Really?
That is what you said. Yep.
Why am I like this? Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So we fade
like,
in on this. I think it's
Christine
a
is-
shot
okay.
of Haley making that decision, like deciding whether or not to get involved. But it's clear Christine has ill intent, and you would guess that it probably has something to do with Johnny.
yeah, well then, yeah, I guess she's gonna lunge for the bulge, as I say.
Okay. So you want to try to take away whatever Christine has.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's like stealth sort of cover like sleight of hand, or is this just a
Well,
strength?
are you trying to pickpocket her or like stop her physically? Because she's gonna try to leave the room.
I don't think I can
and
stop her physically. Like, I think she's a weak nerd, but I'm a child, so
Who would win in a fight, weak nerd or baby?
poor baby. I'm not 50 years
No.
old, okay? I
Yeah.
can't.
I'm gonna put it on baby.
Yeah, my money's on
Um,
baby as well. Yeah,
my
so it
money's
depends.
on
You got to talk to me
baby.
about your approach here, because
I
you could
don't
just
think
let her
it's a
leave and
stealth
follow
thing.
her, or
I don't think it's a stealth thing, but what I mean by like sleight of hand is like outmaneuvering her in as far as like, like the dip and tuck and snatch, as opposed to like just like very like
I
obviously
think that
trying to
particular
like
maneuver is
wrestle
illegal in
her.
this part of the universe. So you
Not
want
for
to
Haley.
Harlem Globetrotter her. You want to like juke back and forth
I
till she
want
tries to leave, and then you want to like
specifically Harlem
slap the gun out of
Globetrotters
her
in an
hand.
episode of Scooby Doo her. Yeah, that's what I would like to do.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the idea is to like kind of fake her out, try to get her to like go past you, and in the process, like knock the weapon out of her pocket or take it or whatever. Okay.
Right. Use my little hands.
Right. Yes, your childlike hands. All right. So I think this is going to be maybe like an opposed coordination roll. I think that's probably the best we're gonna
Hell
get.
yeah, I'm here for it.
It is your best skill, and so if you succeed, you'll get the gun out of her hand. If you somehow manage, if you get a crit, you'll get the gun out of her hand and into yours. And if you fail, you will be rebuffed. And if you critically fail, well, I mean, don't do that, I guess.
My face.
So
It's gone.
Good shapes. We need those good.
yeah.
shape.
So here we go. So it's gonna be, the difficulty's not too bad. So she's not particularly coordinated. I think let's have you roll your coordination, put in your pool, put in 3 purple. I think she doesn't have skill. Yeah, she's agile, but she doesn't have training and coordination the way you do. So
I
3
heard
purple,
she's a weak
and
nerd,
then
so
just for kicks. Hey, I mean, if you're fighting her, it'd be different. So just for kicks, I'm gonna throw in one of my story points, the only story point I have, and I'm gonna put an upgrade on her side. So throw an upgrade on there.
Well, I'm gonna
you're
use one
scrambling over a
too.
gun. So you want to use one too? Okay.
Yeah. So how does that
so
feel?
One upgrade on your side, one upgrade on hers, and then three purple.
Okay. And then my coordination. All right, here we go. Good
Make sure you
shape.
click off.
Good shape. I did. I'll do it.
Make sure you click
I'll do it
off. Yep,
3 more
you got it.
times, just in case.
Before you roll, you have to push some blocks together. So
I
just make the roll.
did. I don't know why it's not going through.
Just like the 4 blocks, Adam. All right, you did this.
I know.
This was you.
It's not working. Oh my god.
Do you want me to do it for you? Should I do it?
Why is it not working? I'm pushing it. Oh my god.
Let's
Hello?
see. Coordination. Let's see here.
is it not working?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's not working for me either. There it is. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that would be really sad if it just decided to break.
It's not
Let
working.
me-
Oh no.
API
I
or
blame
something?
Barry. Yeah, let me see if I can roll. So what do you have in coordination?
I have 2. So
2 yellow. Do
it's
you have a
gonna be
green?
2 yellow, 1 green.
Okay, and then
Well,
let
that's
me
a good
see
point.
if I
Yeah,
can
the
just
roll window's
manually
not
roll.
showing.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Well, you show up to game and then someone takes all your dice away. Cool. Okay, well let's see if there's a way for. I mean, I guess if we can't roll at all.
I do
let me
not
see.
have physical versions of these
I have
dice.
some
Oh,
Genesis
what was
physical
that
dice
noise?
somewhere.
Well, so I can roll manually in the chat. And there's a table somewhere that tells us what dice are what. So we could do it that way. Let me see. Let's see here. I'm gonna do one more thing. I'm gonna reset the game, and then we'll try it that way.
Mark, who did your character art, by the way? I really like it.
Yeah, I was just
That
thinking
was is it SBC, SMC? They are. I'm gonna find them. Do.
Did you commission her, or did
They
they just?
did. No, they. Well, I don't. They did the picture on their Twitter, and they also did the one of Yasna and Autumn when they were getting their hair braided. What is it? Their Twitter handle
Oh my
is
God.
SMC_TAIT.
Success.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Just-
Someone
Fixed it.
rebooted it. So I'm assuming it's
Fixed
JP.
I spun
You
it up.
fixed
It
it?
worked. Okay, I fixed it. So let me see. Is that the roll correct? It is. All right. So we got some stressful shapes, but you succeed. So she tries to get past you. You kind of lunge for her. You slap you mentioned get the gun out of her hand, right? She goes to reach for it to protect it from you. You knock it out of her hand. It lands on the floor. You're gonna take 3 strain. And the gun clatters to the ground, slides across the floor, and lands between the boots of Vigdis, who looks down at it, looks up at the two of you, and somewhere a spaghetti western noise plays. Yep. So
Sound of 4 spaghetti western noises happening at once.
everybody Clint Eastwood all at once. So all three of you kind of like there's literally like the triangle, there's one gun, and Vigdis like raises an eyebrow slightly. Does everybody rush for the gun at once, or what happens? Do you leave the room? Like, I guess Haley, I know what they're gonna do. What are you gonna do? There's a pause, right? We get a beat of silence, and then what do you do?
And Vigdis is the person we've been having sort of an altercation with.
Vigdis is the woman that slapped you in the face earlier.
Yeah, well, like I said, a very
An altercation.
adult, mature altercation. I mean,
You also have a gun in your hand too, right? Like you have your own gun. It's not like this is the only gun in space.
Yeah, it's just that you didn't know that she had a gun, right? Because you didn't know what she was hiding or something.
Yeah.
right. I don't know if Haley sees much of a point in going for it. I think at this point, Christine is more of her concern than Vic. It seems like whatever was going on with Vigdis, I guess, is resolved. So I don't think she thinks Vigdis is going to like shoot her, but I do think she thinks
Yeah,
Christine
Vic
is
has no
going
reason
to
to just pick up the gun and shoot you in the face with it.
Right.
That would be
So I
completely
don't
out of,
think
out of
I'm-
character. But
I think Haley's reaction will just be to like look at the gun and then look at Vigdis and sort of like grab it or don't. Just don't let her have it, you know.
yeah, well, and Vigdis looks at Christine, who I think her response to all this is to burst into tears and flee the room.
Okay.
So unless you want to stop her, yeah, she just immediately just wails in frustration and confusion and sadness and flees the room, hands over her face.
Great.
Vigdis looks down at the gun, looks at you with the gun in your hand, and she stares at you for a second and then says, "You're a weird kid." and leans down and picks up the gun.
I'm not a kid. I'm 180 years old.
And she tucks it into her her like waistcoat that she's got on. She tucks it in, and then just goes back to sleep. Right, just like leans back against the wall. And she's like, "I'll just take care of this for you. Don't worry. You have your own gun anyway."
My gun now.
Yeah, this is mine now.
I'll just tell
She
Yasna
leans
that
back
she
against the wall.
has it
Yeah,
later.
right. It's technically it's Yasna's gun.
Right.
Yeah. So, Autumn and Johnny, you are in Autumn's quarters, right? And
Johnny, I believe,
Johnny,
is in
you are
a closet.
Johnny's in in the closet. Yep.
Like,
One day I hope that Johnny will feel safe enough to come out of that closet. But for right now, the closet is a safe place for Johnny to have flashbacks in. But Autumn, you hear the other end of the hall, you hear the hiss of a door open. You hear panicky footsteps on the catwalk. You hear like clunk, 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 and like, yeah, sobbing. And then you hear a thump and then more muffled sobbing.
There'll probably be like a pause and a kind of like and then a slow kind of like push the chair back, stand up, and yeah, like go to leave the room. One question I have though, Adam, because I'm not sure how it's going to work in Genesis. Like, Autumn is a precognitive psychic.
Yes.
Is that something that only ever she has to activate, or is there a?
So
yeah, it's something she has to deliberately stop doing.
Yes, part of your MES training, part of your training at the Psychic Academy was to teach you to recognize the difference between the future and the present.
Right, okay.
Because with kids with MES, it's like I'm sure there's a House Serpents like document or a video or whatever they showed in New Parents to be like, if your kid is acting like this, they might not be weird, they might be a psychic. Right. And so one of them is like if your child is responding to things before you say them, or like if your kid apologizes for stuff that they haven't done yet, or like those kind of things, they live in the future. So you had to be trained to be like, this is what now feels like. This is what tomorrow feels like, and this is how to access those feelings without having them overwhelm you at all the time. So for you,
it's like a defensive thing,
yes,
that it's not a reactive,
that's
power or
right.
anything like that. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
you do it on purpose. Otherwise, you could be very easily like lost in your perception of time.
Yeah, but that means that I won't ever get like a warning if like because the thing I was thinking of is like, would my precog kind of sense that I was in danger from being shot, for example?
Right.
I guess that's
no.
not.
So that's the thing is it's not as I understand it's not like spider sense in that.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe there are some like unconscious, like we could flavor it as being unconscious, but you have to make the choice as Autumn, right? If you wanted to tell me like, I'm going to make this roll, but I think maybe it's my own like subconscious doing it.
Yeah.
Because,
or it's I'm going into a dangerous situation. I want to attune myself to being aware of what might happen and use that to my advantage. That's cool.
Right. It's like how far into the future you want to let your brain drift. And I think that's a choice too, right? So there is a way you can use your precog to do that, but I don't think it's just on all the time.
Still has to be an active choice by me. Cool.
Right, but by Mark rather than necessarily by Autumn.
By
right?
Mark,
you can tell me like, oh, my brain does this precognitively, but I'm not going to be like, you have a psychic premonition necessarily. There might be circumstances where that happens, but
yeah, maybe it's like if somebody shoots at me, I could make a precog roll to see if like I'm aware of it or something.
That
like
sort of
so,
thing.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Because remember, you're more aware of the ongoing narrative, obviously, than Autumn is, so you can play around with that a little bit.
Cool. Okay. Cool. But yeah, I think that she will I'll probably kind of like check in with Johnny and just be like, hey, you okay in there, Johnny? Like, just make sure he's all right. Like, you okay?
Yeah. Okay, Dad.
All right. And then I'll make my way out to see what the commotion is about.
Okay. Yeah. So you see Christine. She is across the hall, leaned up against the wall, up against the bulkhead, sobbing into her hands.
God, it's just the worst. Like, it's everything Autumn doesn't want to do, just presented in a single kind of moment of encounter of like, I do not want to deal with this woman. There's this moment, I think there's like a moment where we see Autumn, like her hat, like she looks at the like closed door button, and it's that moment of I could just walk away and she wouldn't even know I saw her.
Push that button and you wouldn't have to deal with this.
But then like a true like, no, she's clearly upset. I should do something. she kind of was like, and kind of like slowly makes her way over, and will basically
So
say,
is this a regular problem for Autumn? Like, were you always like this, where like you saw like a sad looking peasant and you're like, "Mommy, Daddy, I want to help the peasant," and they're like, "No, Autumn, stay away from them. They're filthy peasants."
I think it's
Or
less of an
has this
active.
changed over time?
I think it's less of an active thing like that, and more that she was influenced by the kind of things her sister would do. So this is something that like
Ah,
Landra would do quite
mhm.
often, because she was very sort of charitable and very caring, and also the doctor's
Right.
training, I think, as well, like the medical training of like, you should look after people and take care of their needs, even. But for the most
Mm,
part, that was paying nobles, but that's kind of still left a bit of an impression.
right.
So
Sure.
she is just, and it's more of like that. It's more of a kind of doctor-patient relationship, that rather than kind of actual kind of caring for somebody she doesn't really know. It's like, it's my job to look after people, and this is
Sure.
somebody who
Yeah,
probably
even though
needs some
you're a
help.
medical doctor and not a psychologist, and this
Yeah,
lady is having a
there's still
tear
this.
duct malfunction.
Yeah, this feels
So
like
she's yeah,
somebody who needs help.
she does. Well,
And yeah,
I mean, yeah, okay, that's a way of putting it. So she's just like curled up in a ball and just like crying into her hands.
yeah, I think that just very
Big-
gently and softly kind of approach, maybe sit down on the floor, like nearby, not next to her, but like maybe opposite, or like, on the side in the cargo hold or something like that, or wherever she is. Just kind of sit down
Yeah,
on the
she's just
floor.
in the hallway, just across from
Yeah.
the door.
Okay. So like maybe on the opposite side of the hallway, just kind of sit down, wait for a few moments, and then just, hey, do you need to talk about it? What's going on?
There's no change in her like sobbing pattern that you can detect. She doesn't appear to be attempting to communicate anything. She's just
Okay.
like caught up in whatever her bad feelings are.
Okay. I think that Autumn just sits there and waits, and is just like, I'm not gonna leave her on her own, but she doesn't want to pry. She'll just kind of like sit there and wait until she's
Okay,
either at
yeah.
a point where she wants to speak, or she leaves, and then Autumn will be like, right, I tried my best, and then goes back to what she was doing.
Let's have you make a charm roll.
Sure.
Difficulty. She doesn't like you.
I know. I know.
Difficulty, let's say
Wow.
3. Difficulty 3 or 2 purple and a red, I think.
Two purple and
I
red.
think that's
Yeah,
a
okay.
reasonable. Yeah. I'll
Get
spend
rid of-
my
Oh, good.
I'll spend my story point for that red, because you can't. There's no like I don't
Oh,
like.
as in,
autumn
like, so
skill,
you're spending
she'd
it
have,
for that red
she'd
already?
have to come to make it. Otherwise, it'd be 3 purple.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2 purple and a red on the bad side. Make a charm roll.
Sure.
And
Sure.
hey,
Well,
look at
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
So same thing. Everyone is succeeding, but at somewhat considerable cost for strain.
so yeah,
Okay,
taking it as
alright.
strain. Yeah.
Yeah, just take that as strain. That's the easiest way to do it. So
Okay.
you wait, right? And she continues to sob dramatically into her hands, and then that continues for a little while. And maybe right about when it's time to, when you're like, okay, she obviously doesn't want to talk. Maybe you start getting up, and you don't.
Yeah.
She doesn't say anything, but you notice that she just stops crying. Like you notice the absence of sobs. So there's a change as you stand up.
So I kind of sense that, and I look at her, and I'll just kind of, I think maybe like even not necessarily let out a sigh, but there'll be kind of a look of not pity, but kind of whatever's going on. It's not going to help any of us to just leave this lingering around. I'm not trying to hurt you or do anything wrong.
So while you're speaking, so she's got her like
Yeah.
face in her hands while you're speaking. She like lifts her head and takes her hands away, and you notice like her face is totally dry. Her eyes are not like red or anything. Like she's
She's
her
all
face
pro-
is just
yeah,
totally
she's all-
normal looking.
Yeah, I
And
got
she
a
looks
sense of
up at
what's going
you.
on.
She just blinks a couple of times, like she's not totally like there. Like she's looking through you. So she looks at you and she just blinks a couple of times. And then she kind of comes to. You see her like shake her head, and she says, like she looks around. She's like, "Where am I? Why am I in the hallway?
You came
What's
out
happening?"
of the bunk. You were upset, crying about something. I came and sat with you for a moment. Did you not remember? I don't know what happened. Did Haley or that
She
other
shakes.
woman say something?
She shakes her head and she says, I don't know. I was in the other room, and then I was out here, and what? And like she seems very like almost like concussed. Like something's not connecting upstairs.
I think that's the point where I'll be like, I can take a look at you if you want, Christine. That's not a good sign if it just literally happened.
I think she's just like confused. Like if you like bend down and just like pick her up, she'll probably go with you. But she's
Yeah.
she's kind of like,
Well, I think I'd
like
probably
mumbling to herself and looking around.
like go into like the doctor mode, right? Like I'd probably get down
Yeah.
beside her and like check her pupil dilation and kind of like maybe check her pulse and like, ask her just basic questions like, did you hit your head? What was the last thing you remember? And things like that. Just asking like general, gentle, probing questions to figure out what happened to her.
So you just leave her in the hall and like sit down next to her, or do you pick her up and like take her into your room?
I don't think I'll move her. I think that the medical
Mhm.
thing in me would be like, don't move her initially. Check that she's not like, hurt her head, like
Yeah, because
literally like maybe like tip her head and stuff.
Yeah, if something physical happened to her, like you don't know what happened to her before this. So if she got hit in the
Exactly.
head, like a cargo thing fell on her, or
Exactly.
something.
So I think I
like,
wouldn't move her.
Vegas.
Check
Yeah,
her
okay.
first. Make sure there's no lingering damage, and then maybe help her back into like somewhere like the bunks or somewhere where she can sit down properly. Do like a little brief medical kind of check first.
All right. So yeah, let's have you make a medicine check.
Sure.
Just to give her a once over. So do that with
Once over.
I mean, she's not a human, she's a synth, so make it do three purple.
Okay. 3 pups and then medicine.
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, wow, nice.
Damn.
Very good.
I'm a doctor.
Okay. Yeah, turns out. So you can say for certain at like a glance, she's not hurt in any way. She doesn't. There's no contusions. There's no like she doesn't have a concussion. Her pupils are a little bit more dilated than you would expect on a human being, but also she's engineered in a way to seem like kind of helpless and attractive to a certain kind of person that likes helpless women. So having like slightly bigger eyes and slightly more often dilated pupils, like it's part of how she was made. But yeah, she doesn't seem to be like physically in any ill way.
Okay. In that case, I'll probably like
except for the
help
whole
her
like
up.
not crying thing, like because she was really like giving her, but there's no tears.
I think like in Autumn's mind, with the kind of idea that she's built up around Christine, like she's designed to be this kind of like mess, like, look after me mess kind of like character. I think that Autumn just assumes that's part of it, right? Like that she can make these really realistic, fake tears, but she's not actually crying kind of thing. I think I'll just pick her up and maybe help her back into the bunk room. And tell her to like lie down and basically get her to kind of.
So yeah, as when you go to get her, you like help stand her up, and she mutters something. She's like, "Oh, thank you, Eliza. I'm sorry. I'm just a bit confused. Where's Clavius?"
I don't know who they are. It's me, Autumn. Do you? And then you're on the ship. Do you remember? You came with Yasna and me, the others.
And she pulls when you're like, "I'm Autumn. Don't you remember?" She pulls away from you, like she's suddenly seeing you for the first time, and she mutters, "She's like, I don't know you. Who are you? What's going on?" And she looks around. She's like, "Where's Clavius?" And you can see her starting to like hyperventilate a little bit.
Okay. Can I? Okay. So I think that we're going to go into like I raise my hands up and I'm like, I think you may have a slight memory problem. You came here with us. We looked after you. I don't know who those people are. I'm really sorry, Christine, but I'm just trying to help you. Okay, I'm a doctor. I'm here to help. And I kind of like, obviously, like I'm wearing the doctor's uniform and things like that. I think something may have happened to you. Maybe your memory's a little fuzzy. We just need to get you sat down, and we're gonna ask some questions and figure out what's going on with you. Okay?
Make that charm roll again, but with just the three purples.
3 pups. Cool. Yeah. Not a negotiation.
I'll give you $1.
You come with me, and I'll give you candy. I mean, yeah, bam.
Nice.
I'm
Everybody's
rolling well.
so good today. Nice
You want
work.
me to take strain?
So I think interacting with Christine is stressful.
It's stressful, yeah, it is.
She like takes a deep, like shuddering breath, and then her eyes roll back in her head, and she falls on the ground. She just like noodles. Her legs just go limp. Do you want to try to catch her before she hits the deck, or?
I mean, I'll try and like lessen the drop. Yeah, like Autumn's not gonna fucking lift. Like I'm weak as shit. I'm just gonna try and like catch her and like help her, like so she doesn't just smash her face.
Yeah. She falls backwards. I think you managed to like grab her, and the two of you kind of like tumble to the deck. Yasna, that's what you hear from the cargo hold as you're like coming back. You hear the sound of like clearly this, and you're a pro at this. You know what it sounds like when a body hits the ground. So you hear that. You hear this like thumping, this very particular thumping sound of an uncontrolled fall onto the deck of a ship. As you're coming out of the cargo hold.
I'll definitely start calling out for like Johnny and Haley and Yasna. I'll be like, someone quick. Something's happened.
So Johnny, you hear that too from the closet.
Johnny finally comes out of the closet. Like there he is. He's out. God bless.
Right.
He comes out of the closet, and he looks around, and he immediately just sees Autumn with Christine, and he rushes over. And his instinct is immediately like, bam, like gotta take care of fallen lady Christine.
I mean, if this were a real like 18th century French sex farce, you would assume that they were in a lover's embrace and get really upset and run off. But I like this approach better. So you see that she's obviously hurt, and you run over to like help her. She's lying on the ground. And so the two of you, and then Yasna, you come in or like come into entrance of the hall, and so you can see this little cluster of activity. And Christine is you get her laid on the ground, but I think Autumn, you have to hold her head because she's twitching slightly. Like her fingertips are twitching, her knees and her elbows are twitching slightly, and her eyes are like flicking back and forth under her eyelids. You can see them like moving quite quickly. She might be having a seizure of some kind. Like it's hard to tell.
Okay. Can I use my biopsionics to try and figure out what's going on with her? Like, get a sense of like, what's going on in the brain. Like, use my biopsionics to try and like stop any kind of like.
Yes, you can. The answer is yes. Biopsionics on synths, depending on the model or the way the synth is built, it's like not always like perfect. Sometimes there are anomalies, but for the most part, since we're designed to just be better humans, so yeah, you can definitely, chances are very good it'll just work like normal.
Okay. What would you like me to roll?
Go ahead and make the roll, and you just want to figure out what the hell's going on with her.
I think like figure out what's going on with her, and then I guess like maybe if I get advantages, use that to try and like calm the symptoms down so that she's not gonna injure herself or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so success will say one success will tell you kind of what's going on. The more success you get, the more you'll learn, and then any advantage you get, you can spend towards ameliorating the problem you're discovering.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good. How many dice?
Just a regular two difficulty.
2 difficulty, and then
2 purples.
Biosonics, and it's 2 strain to use psychic power, right?
Yeah, just 2 strain to use it.
2 success.
Okay.
So
all right, so you learn some things. You're not gonna be able to do anything about it.
I'm getting pretty stressed, guys.
She's dreaming. She's like deeply asleep. And her body is doing that thing where, like, if you're dreaming about like falling and you like twitch in your sleep, That's what's happening. She's having
Okay.
a dream.
Okay, so I've got like my eyes closed and like my fingers around her temples and like around her skull, and I'm just kind of got her
Oh,
head
you're
on my
Obi-Wan
lap. And I'm
Kenobiing her?
yeah, kind of like
I like
I've
it,
kind
yeah.
of got her like head on my lap. If Johnny's holding her, I'll probably like go to her head and kind of rest her head on my knees and just put my hands over her crown of her head, close my eyes, and just focus on like what her body's doing and use my psychic energy to figure it out. Jeez,
Yeah,
Vanna,
yeah, okay.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then I put my hands on either side of her face
On
and
the
push my thumbs
thumbs
over her
go
eyes.
I forgot to
That death is
mention.
reserved for the Cygnus noble that made you. You have to go find him and be like, I need more time, fucker, and then kill him. You gotta save the eyeball move. The Roy Batty special
I
is
love
reserved
love.
for particular targets.
And I love violence. Okay, those are my two things. So
Cool.
Perfect.
That's what I'm doing.
So, yeah, so she's more or less calm, but she's like twitching like she's having a dream, right? No, that's what you see as you come around the corner into the hall. Johnny, Autumn, and Christine. Christine is having some kind of episode. But it seems under control now.
I guess so. Then when I walked in, I would just be like, "What happened?" Like looking at all three of
what's
them,
all
waiting
this
for.
about?
I'll kind of like my eyes will flicker open, and I'll kind of like snap out of it a little bit. I wish I knew. I heard the door open and then like a thud, and she was crying, and I sat down for a moment, and then she just didn't know who I was. She was asking for Clavius or something, some people that I've never heard of. She didn't recognize me, and then just collapsed, and she's dreaming. She's in like a really deep, intense dream. I don't know. Nothing's wrong with her.
Was Haley in the room or no?
No.
I was gonna
but-
ask, like, is that something I could hear from that far down the hall? I just assumed I was kind of out of range down the hall and behind a closed door.
No, I mean the spaceship's real small, so everybody can hear pretty much anything that's above like a quiet conversation.
Okay.
Why was she out here by herself?
I don't know. The door opened and then she was crying. I don't know.
I would immediately be like, "That is Haley. You did not leave her with Vigdis."
Haley was with Christine and Vigdis in the other room, yeah, but she was with Christine.
I think I would probably then go around and everything flashed in
Find
my
Haley
head.
with a
like,
gun.
Oh God,
Yeah.
I
God.
killed her.
Alright,
I
here's
killed her,
what we'll
Yasna.
do.
I'm sick of her.
Vanna, we'll just roll a d6. On a 1 to 3, you're alive. On a 4 to 6, Vigdis is alive. How about that? That sound good? So no, Yazzie, you come over.
I like these
just
odds.
imagining
I
the
like
worst.
these odds.
Yeah. Just imagining that like they both killed each other, or one of them's dead, or what's going on. So you get over there, the door opens. Haley, what do we see when the door opens? Because Vigdis is just she just is like taking Yasna's gun and pretending to sleep. What are you doing?
I think you said Vigdis just sort of laid back down and went to sleep. I think Haley's just like in the other corner of the room with the gun in her hand, just staring at her and watching her sleep.
Perfect.
And her
Good.
like finger is like twitching around the trigger, but it's not pointed anywhere.
All right. Excellent. Yep,
Then
so that's
I
what you
would-
see, Yasna.
Okay, what is going on? What happened with Christine? What happened with you?
You got distinctly more French there.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
happened with
this is
you?
Face, man, like stress, like makes different things come out. Like you don't.
Well, we're having a little bit of troubles with our new stowaway, and she took your bed, and now she's somehow taken your gun. maybe because Christine took it first, and then I took it from Christine. That's the end of my story.
This is why I did not want you to have a gun.
I didn't shoot. I didn't shoot my gun. I didn't. I didn't. This has nothing to do with if I should have a gun or not. This has to do
But
with if Christine should
Vigdis
have a
has
gun or
my
not.
gun.
Okay, that's a Christine problem and a you problem. Okay. I did what I needed to do to keep Christine
Why
from
are
like
you
I don't know, like
pointing?
shooting Johnny or
Why are you pointing the gun at Vigdis?
she wasn't.
Oh.
She just is holding her gun. She's not.
I
I
just
think
told her.
Vigdis says that, right? Because she's doing the like tough cowboy thing where she's like asleep with her like hat down over her eyes, right? Where she's just like. So I think when you say why were you pointing the gun at Vigdis, Vigdis says she wasn't, and like opens her eyes and leans forward and she reaches into her vest, but her other hand to you, Yasna, is like. Don't shoot me. I'm not going to kill you. This is not bad for you. I'm getting something out of my, but she knows that you would react to seeing her like reach for something. So she puts her hand up, she reaches in and she takes out your gun, which you did not, I guess, know she had, takes out your gun and then flips it. So she's holding the barrel and holds it out to you.
I grab it.
Okay.
And turn to Haley and just say, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I understand you walk into a situation without all the information. Maybe next time you could give me the benefit of the doubt.
Like totally stone cold Gollum, like just ice face to that remark. And turn around to Vigdis and also say, I'm sorry.
Well, okay, don't apologize to her.
Shrugs.
She slapped me.
that was a whole episode ago. Nobody remembers that.
That's gone.
It was like minutes ago in game.
That's true. It was like 20 minutes ago.
I would then probably ask Vigdis, like, do you know what happened to Christine?
Friend's got a screw loose.
She's not wrong.
Okay.
She got really upset when Johnny left with Autumn, and then she kind of like got crazy face, and then she took something out of your trunk, and then I was like, I bet that's a gun, and then I smacked out of her hand, and it was a gun. Is that gun that you're holding now?
I would
Yours.
I holster it. I like, put it in my back and then I look at Haley and just like even like literally mom eyes, like just a little bit eyes just a little bit wider than usual and make the motion again, like to holster the weapon.
Mom eyes.
There's a lot going on here. I just think I would feel better if it just, ready to go.
Just put the gun away.
Fine. She just puts it, there's like a ribbon that ties her, like her dress cinches around her waist. She just like pokes it into that.
And then I go back to we must find out what is wrong with Christine.
Johnny's
just
like
go back
holding
on.
her, just trying to like shake her awake violently.
Autumn, are you?
I think I'm like, Johnny, that's probably not a good idea. Like, I think I'd look at Johnny and just be like, I know it's probably quite scary, but she is just dreaming. There's nothing physically wrong with her. It's just maybe something, and then
Dreaming. I mean,
that's what she's doing.
when was the last time you seen her dream? She doesn't even sleep.
That's what her body's doing. That's all the symptoms of dreaming and the brain activity. Dreaming. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm just worried about if we try and wake her up, it's going to disrupt whatever is going on. I don't really know how synth brains process stuff like this. We didn't study that. I know how flesh and blood might work, but I'm not sure how much is different with her. But from what I can tell, yeah, I think it may be best like we just put her somewhere, let her recover naturally, maybe.
That's a great idea.
And Johnny carries her and just like he makes a motion to go back to the closet where he was so he can just dump her in there.
Maybe put her in her bunk, Johnny. Maybe
Who's
in
in the
her
closet
bunk.
now, Christine?
Let's
Oh.
shove her in.
Oh,
Lock the
yeah,
door.
sure. Yeah, okay.
And just goes, back towards the bunk area. But he had like a one-track mind and he was just gonna put her in there and forget
Shut
about her.
those doors. Just
I mean, that
stood
makes
up,
sense
like,
because for Johnny, like, yeah, it's like you're go in your closet, Johnny. Like, get out of the way. We're trying to do things. Yeah, but you're gonna go and take her to back to the bunks and lay her down.
Yes.
Then okay. All right.
I
So,
think we should tie her
Johnny-
down. It sounds like she tried to. Haley, it sounds like she tried to hurt one of our members. I think we should
What?
tie her down.
I worry that if she wakes up tied down like that, that's going to distress her even more. She was just crying in the corridor. I don't know if she tried to hurt anybody.
I worry that she
herself?
stole my gun from my bag and
What?
do not wish to worry about. I already have to worry about someone else having a gun. I think we
She's-
should tie Christine down.
Why did she want your gun?
I think she wanted to kill you, Adam.
What? Why? What did I do?
Because you were sharing a bed with Johnny.
No, I wish Johnny is
No.
just staying in the room.
I was in the closet.
He wanted to go in the closet.
Listen, I don't care about the details of your sleeping arrangements, and I'm just telling you.
Well, clearly
I
Christine
think-
does.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I think Christine had some presumptions about your sleeping arrangements, and it very much upset her.
Oh my God,
With
Autumn!
somebody-
Autumn is Johnny's beard. This is amazing.
Well,
yeah. So
even if she wanted to shoot me, I still, I'm not sure if tying her down is, maybe it is for the best. I don't know.
We do
Well,
not
we could
know
give
what
her-
happened to her. We cannot risk the safety of the crew and the.
Well, she didn't even seem to remember who we were when she spoke to me. She was talking about other people. Maybe something's gone wrong in her memories or something. I don't know.
Maybe one of her past programmings was activated and overrid her current one.
Maybe.
So Adam, this is where I would
Mhm.
have a question. Like, I don't
Yeah.
feel like I would have any understanding of this. My right, like having a military background. Like, I can't imagine I would be in any.
Well, what do you? I guess what's the question that you have? Like, what's going on with her?
The question is like we can sit and speculate about what's happening, and I mean, we have one perspective, but even doing anything, or is this something that any of us would have seen before, or
If you spend a story point, yeah,
Oh,
you can spend a story point to see, like, to say I've seen this before, right?
okay,
That's fine. That's a thing you can do.
It's a tease.
okay. I think I would
I mean,
like
that's what they're for, right? To be like, wait a second, this is a convenient detail. I've
seen
seen
it
this happen to a synth before. Yeah. Do you want to do that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I spend
Alright,
a story
so-
point. I have made the declaration.
There you go. So you have seen, you've seen this happen before. It's fairly uncommon, given that synths tend to be programmed for a purpose initially, and then they retain that purpose. But if their programming has been altered after the fact, it can cause problems. It's since it's called palimpsest syndrome, where if you do it too many times, the layers get crossed, and they think that it's very easy to create situations of disorientation and confusion. I think probably the way you've had to deal with this is repurposed non-combat synths that were basically drafted and reprogrammed to be soldiers, but then they would, in times of stress, there was a chance they could revert to a former programming, like a preset. So you're fighting alongside a bunch of soldiers, and then suddenly one of them turns into like a valet at a hotel and like collapses terrified in a foxhole somewhere, so it's it's a thing.
My only follow-up question to that would be, is it a thing that is temporary as I know it, or is it a thing as in like, oh yeah, I've seen this and there's only one way to handle it, and that is just
I don't think you're not responsible for fixing these kinds of problems. So it's always just been like, technician, come and fix this. The private's having a problem. Can you fix him?
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then I tell this story. It's like a 37-minute story. Look, Yasna's not that great at storytelling, okay? Like
Yeah,
she's
it's all
a fighter. So and at the end then I'm like, and so we need a technician.
I just look around the room. Mm.
I mean, I have limited experience. I feel like technician is a strong word, but
I think if you hand me the gun, you can be the technician.
this is one of the few tools I have, so I should keep
Are
it.
you going to use the gun to be a technician?
What if I am?
No, hey,
Is there a problem?
no, hey, no. But please, if there's something you think you can do,
I mean,
Do you want to make a computer? Do you want to make a computer's roll, Haley, to see if you have any idea of what to do?
I think she's thinking. Okay, yeah, I'll just see if I just to roll, not to do anything, but just to see
Not
if
to do
I
anything, but just to
think I
see,
can do
yeah,
it.
just
Okay.
to see if you, yeah.
Make a mechanics
So,
roll?
Yeah, make it. I think this one. Let's put it at like average difficulty, so two purple, and then make a computer roll.
Oh, computer. Ooh.
Yes.
Okay. 2 purple.
Mhm.
2 purple. No upgrades. We're sure it's not mechanics. That just seems sort of like a synonym for technician.
Mechanics, I think, is Johnny. Computers is more Sid.
Yes. If you want to fiddle with, if Johnny was having a problem, mechanics would be the
Okay,
skill
okay.
to repair. Yeah, this is all. It's all software.
So the rolls aren't working again.
Yours aren't. Let me try.
what?
Make it go.
Say what?
How dare you, character sheet? We were having such a good time.
How
Purples.
very dare you?
I know, so rude. Computer. Cool. Okay. Let me give it another. Let me spin it up again. We'll try it.
Spin it up.
So, I mean, I guess while I'm doing that, has Haley had any like? Have you ever been like reprogrammed in a way that you remember, or like have you experienced this process yourself? Is that why you might know things, or have you watched like other performers get programmed?
I think it's just from like since she was doing sort of that like synth underground thing and meeting all different kinds of synth and like being present for that sort of thing. I think it's literally just like did it go through? Oh, I see.
There we go. Ignore the second one. That was just me.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, so you got one on that first one. So I'll tell you this. So you know, here's the thing. You know that it is possible, and you remember or understand the kind of equipment you would need to do it, but you do not have access to that equipment because it's fairly specialized. So
Right.
the way that this process works, if done correctly, is there's an apparatus, basically like a chair or like a standing table that the patient, the project is they get strapped to, and then electrodes are attached to your brain. Sometimes like intracranial. Sometimes they're drilled into your brain. Sometimes they're just on the surface of your skin. And then you're subjected to both electrical pulses directly to your brain and a series of strobing lights from various directions. So your eyes are held open like in Clockwork Orange, and they just blast you with like a series of very fast flickering lights to induce like an epileptic seizure state, and then the electrode flashes to your brain, like rewrite the way your brain is programmed. But you do not know how to code the sequence to fix someone like Christine, and you don't have the equipment. You might, if you roll really well, you might be able to like factory reset her, but that's like that would erase everything that she knows and is. That would just put her
Yeah,
right back to like
Does she have like a little like hole in the back of her head? You're just like
yeah. So what you need
Get
to
a
do is you need to get a
paperclip.
paper clip and unfold it, and then just stick it behind the SIM card will pop out. Just throw that out and put in a new one.
Yep.
She's a burner synth.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that's the thing is you could maybe with mechanics, and this is where that skill comes in. You could jury rig like a reprogramming chair out of like ship lighting and like a car battery or whatever, but you don't have you need a coder. You need someone to write the code to tell Christine's brain how to work.
Man, we should have done that before. The good news is that I think she can be reverted. I guess that's the bad news is I guess she can be reverted. But I don't think I have the ability to make that happen, and I don't think we have the equipment to make it happen, even if I did. And also, again, is that what we want?
So what do we do? We just wait till she wakes up?
I
And tie her down.
Yeah, we don't know, like, because she could wake up either like the Christine you knew from before, or the strange murderous fugue state Christine, or she could wake up and be a totally different person. It depends on how many times she's been overwritten.
Well, I'll stay with her until she wakes up.
I could try and keep her asleep for the rest of the journey.
Oh, yeah, Autumn, you could use biopsionics to put her in a coma.
Well, I was thinking more like kind of like what are they like when you like when you get knocked out for like surgery and stuff like that.
Right, like general anesthetic.
Yeah, like kind
Yeah.
of keep her under or something, what they call it, like I
You
could
just have
try
some
and
of that
keep her
on
asleep.
hand?
Yeah, medically induced. I mean, you can medically induce.
I can
like,
do it
a
with my
coma state.
brain.
With
Oh,
your brain.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, I can do it with my brain. I could try and do that. I guess the question is when we reach where we're going. I mean, I assumed that Christine wouldn't have. Well, I assumed that Christine would have just gone wherever Johnny was going, or tried to convince Johnny to go wherever she was going. But I guess that leads to the bigger question of what are any of us gonna do when we get there? I don't know. We could maybe she's got people waiting for her. Maybe she knows people that are gonna meet her there. We could give her to them, and maybe they can fix her, or I don't
Yeah, and
know.
that's the thing that's been making you anxious, right, Yasna? That you don't really know like who paid for all this. Like you got a ticket to somewhere safe, supposedly, but nobody knows
Right.
who the benefactor is.
Right.
Yeah, so
I
when
say
you
we
arrive in
just
Kabina, who knows
leave
what's gonna
her.
be there?
We leave her as she is. We hopefully finish this journey with peace and quiet. No firing
Yeah,
of guns.
I like Autumn's no wakey up idea. I'm a pretty big fan of that.
I mean, I can't make any promises. It is obviously different to when I would work with human patients, but I think it should work the same. I can try.
Think is good enough for me.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind staying with her, I
Yeah.
might need to just I'll try and induce a kind of long-term sleep, and then I'm gonna need to get some rest. Today's been kind of stressful, so And then yeah, I'll
I
keep
could
an eye on her.
pass
Keep
out
an
at
eye on her
the at the
vitals.
briefest provocation.
No, I'm okay for
so
now.
let me see. I'm gonna take a look at starts with a number and see if there is a like an equivalent ability to like induce stasis.
You don't need to
feel like
look at
there
that,
might
Adam.
be.
You're the GM. You can just say it
I
works.
I don't even need rules. Yeah, well, I mean, I just want to get an idea of what the difficulty might be, I guess is the
Sure.
thing.
I've got some stuff up here.
So-
Say the
let's see
basic abilities
here.
heal.
Because I think, yeah, like it's definitely possible. I just got to figure how difficult I want it to be. All right, so this is all like kind of in the moment stuff. Okay, let's say it's gonna be 3. We'll say 3 purple.
Okay.
To do it, you just need 1 success.
Okay.
But I'm gonna spend this story point for an upgrade.
Spend a story point
on
an upgrade.
on the bad side.
Okay.
So yeah, 3 purple and 1 upgrade, and then it's your skill.
You know what? I'm gonna spend a story point as well, just because.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want to do any damage. I want to try and minimize the potential for bad stuff.
Yeah.
And get good stuff.
For a critical
Good
fail.
shapes.
All right. Ready to go?
Biotonics roll. Here we go.
Hey, look at that.
3
So you
success.
just take the 2 strain from your activation of power.
It.
What does this look like to everybody else? Because you do it. It's a stable coma. It's not. There's no like. You're not gonna risk damaging her. You do a great job. 3 successes is a lot. So
yeah. So I think.
Yeah. Does anyone else see anything? Do you touch her? Do you like what happens?
Well, I think it's not just like a touch, and it's like a process, right? So I think like I go and get some basic medical supplies, like maybe hook it up to like a small data pad, just like a monitor her vitals kind of thing, like kind of like, you know, a little node attached to like a forearm and
right, because you totally have like that in your kit. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like a training. Like it's just like a sensor, basically, like a kind of like pulse readout and sort of basics, things like that.
Okay.
Get her comfortable, make sure she's like elevated, make sure that there's like a basic kind of like IV drip or like a nutrient drip or something. And then she places her hands, one on Christine's head and one on the inside of her forearm. And I think to everybody else, there is almost this kind of the air around the bunk kind of seems to shimmer and shift for a moment. As
cool.
Autumn's probably using like micro pulses, kind of like psychic micro pulses in the air to kind of affect her brain. And we just kind of see this kind of coalescence of shifting air on her brain. And then she just kind of settles into a peaceful slumber.
Yeah, I love the idea that psychic abilities cause phenomena that are not perceived by the senses, but the brain picks up anyway and like misfires. So it's like you see an aura, but you're not actually seeing anything. Your brain is just responding to the like shock waves of the ability.
I don't know what's going on. This is what you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. So she falls into a coma state. She's not like twitching anymore. Her eyes are still moving, but she is out. Yep.
Cool.
Johnny kind of like brushes the hair out of her face and, you know, make sure that her head's comfortable on the pillow. There you go.
She should be okay.
Right.
It should last for a good while. Just keep an eye on her vitals. I'll check in on her every day, but she should be at peace for a while. So yeah.
All right. Well, I'll stay here, you know, just in case, right? Because we don't want anybody waking up too early, right? Before we get there. So I'll make sure she won't have any nightmares.
Thanks, Johnny.
Johnny, if you don't want to watch Christine for once, I can keep an eye on her. You know, for once she's not clinging to you. You can go have some Johnny time.
Maybe we should all take some time just to maybe like watch her in shifts or something.
I mean, I can just watch her.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. If you're okay doing that, Haley.
Yeah, I've got nothing else going on, and
child.
I've kind of got this whole thing going on with the new lady, and you know, I don't really want to be in there.
I don't know what happened. My pistol just went off, and now she's dead. Oopsie.
Autumn
doodle.
must have done something wrong. She died. Yeah.
What do you mean
Sure.
the pillow goes under her head and not on her face? Oops, I put the pillow on the wrong side. Yeah.
Whatever.
So yeah, I mean,
I
is
don't-
that's the plan? Like, keep an eye. Everybody take turns, keep an eye on her, or do you just like? I mean,
No,
she's in the room
Haley's-
where everyone else sleeps, but so Haley's gonna take over as guardian. Okay,
Seems so.
all right.
Are we
Haley?
in Autumn's room? Where did this happen?
No,
at?
you're.
Sorry.
No, I
You're
put her
all
in the pub- in the main
like
bunk.
bunk room.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's still with the Vagna?
Big diss.
Vag-
Vigdis.
Vagina. Got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great. Well, whoops. Oh well. Now I'm hanging out with both of them. Great.
Yep. That's fine.
I
So maybe
heads up.
everybody. maybe that's the scene, right? Like before we go to break, is everybody kind of like, okay, situation is under control. Haley's gonna keep an eye on this person. Everybody else leaves the room, and we're sort of back where we started with Haley sitting on the bed, gun tucked into your little pink dress, Vigdis asleep on the cot across from you, and then off in dreamland, Christine in her psychic medically induced coma, just laying there, probably having the best trip of everybody. And I think that's where we fade out to break. So we're gonna take a short break here. We're gonna come back. We're gonna play some more Verona, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few. Thanks, friends.